Hi everyone, welcome back to the Tea Girls podcast, where we talk about important issues in the LGBT community. We also share our own little stories as well. So, in today's episode, I think we're going to talk about our coming out stories and how we got to where we are today. I think you've got a really good one, haven't you?
I've got a very good one.
So, tell the viewers what your story is, because it's actually a great one.
Okay, so when I first accepted I was trans, I went to my doctor, got that ball rolling. I told a couple of siblings and a couple of close friends. And then it came to telling my parents. So I was terrified to tell my dad because I had no idea how he was going to react. And so I wrote him a letter. And this is my favourite part. I was up at his house one day and I slipped the letter into his man bag because he had a little satchel everywhere he went back at the time. In fact, he still does. But I left it in there, and a couple of days went by and I hadn't heard anything. And then he rings me, and I was terrified. So he said, "Oh, I got your letter. And would you like to come up and have a chat about it?" So I was like, okay. So off I went, got into the car and drove up to my dad's. Got there, and his wife was there.
You must have been breaking one of this.
I was terrified.
It's the most scary experience.
Yeah, it's terrifying. And he wasn't there. So I said hello to his ex-wife now, and she said that he had just gone out and he'd be back in a little while. And I was like, okay. And I was like, how is he? And she was like, he's okay. He has mellowed a bit since. I was like, okay. So he comes back and he says hello and gives me a hug, blah, blah. And he goes, come on, sure, we'll go for a walk. And I was like, oh, okay. He lived in a beautiful place, loads of fields around, loads of stunning views. I was like, great. He goes, I'll just get my rifle. And my heart for a split second stopped. For context, it was a tiny like 2.2 rifle he used for hunting pigeons.
But it's the fact that it's a rifle. He was like, let me just grab my rifle before you tell me that you're coming out. Like,
yeah. And I was like, what? Like, it was a tiny rifle. It was only meant for shooting pigeons, so it was never going to do anything. But for a split second, I had that worry. So we go walking and he's really quiet, and this is just making me more nervous, even though I knew I was completely fine. So eventually we sit down and we start chatting, and he asks me about it, and I kind of tell him, and he was very understanding. He knew a lot about it. So in the end, it was more than fine. He's been very supportive of me. But years later, I actually told him that story, and he was in stitches. He found it hilarious that I thought that.
So do you think he knew what he was doing? Or do you think it was just like, we'll just go for a walk, and then like it just happened to be like...
Knowing him, it is something he would do.
Just to pull a big trick on you.
But no, it was definitely not an on purpose thing. But yeah, that's my coming out story. I told my mother as well. There was a lot less drama there.
So I think my one was like probably less interesting than yours, because
it's interesting in its own way.
It is interesting in its own way. So I struggled a lot with coming out. I tried to come out multiple times before, like from the age of, I don't even know how young I was when I first started to try and gain the courage to come out.
Yeah, but that's something we all do. Like.
Yeah, but I don't know, like, most people are like this. Like, every time you go to say those words, it is so, like, you choke on your own words and you're like, what are we having for tea? Or you say something completely irrelevant. But for me, I ended up coming out at age 26, which is the same age as you as well, isn't it?
No, I started transition at 26. I came out at about 22, 23.
Oh, so you started your transition
yes.
at 26. So we both started our transition at the same age. I bought the HRT prior, and I was just waiting, and then I was like, okay, I'm sort of ready to start now. So we rewind a bit. ADHD, rewind a little bit. So leading up to this moment, I really struggled to come out, and like I said, I used to always choke on my words. So we live somewhat near a mountain. We're in Wales, live near a mountain. So I started to go on very long walks whilst I was dealing with a lot of dysphoria in my head. And I needed to know how to say those words to my parents and everyone else to actually come out. So started these long walks and I started meditating as well because my friend Rhiannon, she got me into meditation and all that sort of thing, and it really helped me.
Yeah.
Because these long walks, I started songwriting as well. Coming soon.
It's a banger. It's been stuck in my head since you finished it.
It's a really good one. But I also started meditating anyway, and whilst I was meditating, I learned to get to the point where I was saying those words during meditation, and I started to picture myself in that scenario of coming out. I was imagining myself as this beautiful girl, and it really helped me a lot to build it up in my head and to think, this is really what I want, this is what I need. If I don't do this, then I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here. So we went for a meal with Leighton, and on the way back in the car, I was constantly just going through in my head this little scenario which I've been meditating about. And
was Leighton with you, or is he?
Leighton at this point we dropped off.
Oh, okay.
So Leighton's gay, he's came out, and so I knew that the family was going to be safe with gay, like if it came out as gay, I knew they were going to be okay with that. However, trans, I didn't know. I had no idea. So I was in the car going through the scenario, and
I'd say you were terrified.
I was absolutely breaking one. As soon as we came home, I sat down and I asked my mother to sit down. She was like, "Oh, we just got to go to the shop or something like that." And I was like, "No, I need to speak to you now," because I was building this up. If I didn't tell her now, like it wasn't going to happen.
If she had gone to the shop, it wasn't.
Yeah, so I was like, "No, I need to speak to you now." So she was like, "Okay." So she sat down, and I was like,
"I'd say she was really worried."
She probably was really worried, but I can imagine she probably thought I was just going to come out as gay.
Maybe she probably had a thought like
something.
Yeah.
She's probably the sort of mother where I wouldn't have to come out as gay. I'd just be like, "This is my boyfriend." So I ended up sitting down on the bed and I said the words. I think I actually said, "I've been dealing with gender dysphoria," and she was like, "What's that?" And I was like, "I'm trans." And she was like, "Okay." I was like, "Yeah." She had a few questions. She was like, is that transvestite, or do you just dress in women's clothes, or what?" She thought it was probably cross-dressing or something.
Yeah, and that's a big one.
That's an entirely different thing. But
although a lot of us do start there.
A lot of people do start with cross-dressing and then they work out that there's something else there.
Yeah, exactly.
But for me, it was like an entirely different thing. But I explained to her, I was like, "Look, there's cross-dressers who are men who dress like women, and then there's people who are trans who want to live as women." And I was like, that's basically where I stand. And then I told her about the hormones, and I was like, "Look, I'm looking on starting hormones as well." Told her about it and everything, and she was like, "Oh yeah, it's just the same as the ones I have for menopause." So I was like, "Great." So she knew all about that, but I don't think she knew it quite to the extent of what it can do for me and what it can do for my look and how I pass and everything.
Which is absolutely remarkable that just estrogen alone can have that change. It's
crazy how a pill literally like this big can make me go from masculine looking to feminine looking. That still blows my mind today, how that can alter your body chemistry so much.
Yeah,
it's
way
so
more
interesting.
I think way more than we realised it did, despite how much research we do. As trans people, we do so much research before everything, and I still don't think we fully knew the changes that would happen.
No. So we talked about that in the previous episode. If you haven't seen, go back to it. But we talk about HRT and how our journey, how our timelines worked.
Yeah.
But I think we should also get into how we met as well, because a lot of people are probably wondering that who haven't followed me over from TikTok.
Given that I'm Irish,
Yeah.
she's Squelch.
Squelch. So in case anyone's not actually sure where this Squelch Ellie comes from, the is Scouse. I was born and raised in Liverpool, but for the past 10 years or so, I've lived in Wales, and this is my home. This is where I live. I love everything about Wales, its culture and everything.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
This is truly home, and I love it so much. But do you want to start with our story?
Okay, so I lived in Ireland at the time, and it was actually during my recovery from surgery, and I had a lot of free time, so I was scrolling TikTok a lot. Came across a couple of videos, gave it a like, and then after a while I'd left a comment. And I think the first one I saw was the reverse spin mount on
the reverse spin over the bike to I know.
And then whatever it was, a couple of weeks later, you were on live, and I was like, oh sure, I'll join. You were crocheting actually at the time.
I was crocheting.
Yeah,
that was my little ADHD hyperfixation at the time, was crochet.
And I knit, so I was like, oh cool, what are you crocheting? I knit. I haven't done it in a while, but it was a way to kind of connect with someone. So she told me, and then I think at the end of that stream you said, hey, for people who don't know, I have a Discord.
Yeah. So the good old Pickle Army. Shout out to the Pickle Army.
Come join us. But I was like, I was in so many Discord servers. I was like, okay, do you know what? I'll join. I fully expect I might chat in it for a few days, and then, like every other server I'm in, just ignore it.
This is one thing that I've noticed about the Pickle Army, though. That's our Discord channel. Lincoln is in the link tree in my description, isn't it?
I think we can put it in the video, but it's definitely in your
description. I'll put the link in the video in the description. Yeah. It's a great Discord, and I get a lot of people who are like, oh, I don't usually use Discord.
Yeah.
So I can't guarantee you how much I will be in the channel.
Well, that's it.
They end up living there, don't they?
Yeah, that's the same for me. Like, I think I must be in about 30 Discord servers, and in the beginning I'm active, and then I just get bored. But with your server, I ended up, it was quite busy, so I got chatting, and it was very flirty with everybody. And then I said, okay, I'm going to join the 18 plus sections because there are some underage people in the main chat, so we tried to keep that PG.
One thing we try to make sure is that our standard pickle chat is kept for everyone, and then we've got an ID'd section, don't we, for 18 plus, and that's just to make sure that everyone there is going to be safe, everyone there is going to be secure, and be talking about the right things as well, because no one's going to give their ID if they have bad intentions.
Exactly.
But I think we kept the channel, like the Discord channel, so well.
Yeah.
And
like there's been issues along the way, but
there has been some issues, but we seem to sort them out quite quickly.
Yeah, and it seems to have settled down now. It's nice and chill. We still get new members coming in.
Yeah, plenty of new people. But it's a great channel, very neurodiverse.
Very. So I got into the 18 plus section, and there was more and more chat, and there was a lot of voice calls, and I was very nervous. I didn't know anybody, so I didn't join them for a while. Eventually I did, and one day Ellie says, oh, we're organising a meetup at Liverpool Pride, and they'd already organised it. So I said, oh cool, and I kind of started looking into it. I was like, oh, hang on, flights are really cheap. I can fly in and out in a day for like 30 quid or something.
Yeah, I think it's £30 for return as well.
Yeah, so I was like, do you know what? I'm going to do it. This is crazy for me. I'm flying from Ireland to meet people I've never actually met.
Can I just point out, this was crazy for me as well, because I was hosting this little follower meetup for the first time ever, and the fact that people were coming from all over the UK and Ireland, flying over just to meet me, I was like, this blew my mind, and it was so beautiful to see.
Yeah.
And so there was a couple of people there who was like, they've always struggled to have friends and keep friends around, and
Yeah, well, that's me all over.
yeah, and to have this beautiful little thing and everyone meet up, it was so cute.
It was really nice, and like I remember, I was so nervous coming over in the plane. I was sending selfies along the way, and then I texted her when I got in. She was like, "Okay, I'm gonna be here at this time." So I went and met her, and she was locking up her bike at the time,
Yeah.
and I saw her, and my jaw dropped. I'm surprised she didn't see the jaw drop, and from then on, I was like, "Damn, she's gorgeous." And like the whole day, I just spent looking at her. I think the two of us both were nervous.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, I knew you were Irish. That is like a big tick. Irish people, the accent is what sends me, honestly. But then 6'1" as well, a tall Irish girl with the accent, gorgeous looking. I was swooning. I'm not gonna lie. I was pulling my poker face very well.
It wasn't that well, but the other thing was you had seen a picture of me on the Discord before, and you were like, "Damn!" But the whole day, like it was, you were a bit hot and cold. You were
That's
sending
me. That is me, though.
Yeah, you were
like,
sending mixed signals. You were being like, you were linking arms with me.
Because the
You
problem
sat
is,
on my lap
like,
at one point.
yeah, but the problem is I've got a lot of relationship trauma. I've dated a lot of bad people. So at this time, I was like, I'm very happy being single. Honestly, the single life I loved.
Yeah.
Like it was so me. I was like, great. I can do where I want, be where I want, when I want.
And then I came along and messed that all up.
You came along and messed it all up. No, but like it was such a cute way that we met, though.
It was like I absolutely loved that day, and of course, me being the very neurospicy person I am, I completely missed the invite. Because they had already organised it prior, they had organised to like go out to the clubs and all. And when she was talking to me, she said, I'm going to with friends to the gay village." And
was that the way I worded it?
yes, and that's the problem. You said, "I'm going with friends." There was no explicit invitation from me.
Oops.
So I assumed that, okay, so at some point she's going to go off and meet other people. So I better make sure my flight is back at like 8 o'clock or something.
Well, I suppose that the Discord, you snooze, you lose, don't ya? Join it now or forever, like, you know what I mean?
But yeah, so that was kind of a bummer. I had to leave early. I missed out on the fun and the drama.
Yeah.
But and then that was that. I flew home, and then we were chatting more, and I kind of mentioned, I think, in passing, that I wanted to go get the ferry with my motorbike to the Isle of Skye.
Yeah, you said the Isle of Skye, and then I was like, I am looking on doing the NC 500, funnily enough.
Which I'd never heard of.
So in case anyone isn't aware, the NC 500 is a big, beautiful route around the Scottish Highlands. It's absolutely stunning. 500 miles around the Highlands. It's gorgeous, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
But like, we started to organise this in the Discord again.
Yeah, because you had said it, and I was thinking about it. I was like, do you know what? Like, why not? I was, again, very nervous of getting a ferry. I'd never been on a ferry, and I'm terrified of boats. I got a ferry while terrified on my own for you.
I remember me winding you up as well when you were on the ferry, and I was like, what if it sinks?
Yeah.
I was just saying the most.
But I think the other thing to mention is you were very apprehensive about whether I would even show up.
I was set to do the NC 500 alone on my own.
Yeah.
Because I'm just not used to having reliable people around me, and it was shocking to see you who was like very reliable.
You had tried to organise trips before, and everyone pulled out.
I've tried to arrange a lot of things in the past, but it seems like I've surrounded myself with the right people now, and I see like everyone around me now is reliable and will be there for me, and it's so nice to see, because one of my biggest worries was I'd come out and no one would want to be around me. In fact, it's been the opposite way around. Before I came out, no one was reliable, no one was around me. Well, not many people. But since coming out,
I think that's probably because you are yourself now.
I think that's what it is. I used to have walls up. There was probably something about me that people couldn't click.
Yeah, that too.
And now I'm the most genuine version of myself.
Yeah.
And people love to see it.
That's what attracted me to you. Like, your videos were cool and all, but it was in the live and in the Discord that I started to see who you are. And it was really attractive. Like, I thought you were stunning anyway, but then to see your personality and everything was fantastic. And then meeting you on the NC, despite the fact that, like, until you saw me there in Scotland, you didn't think I'd be there.
No.
And then off we went. It took us ages. It took us 2 days to get from, what is it, Stranraer in Scotland? Yeah, Stranraer to Inverness.
So can I point out as well, I was on a little Honda Gram, 125 cc's. I'll put a picture of it right here. It was loaded up.
Like,
loaded up. I had about this much space on my seat.
I
was basically sat on the tank.
That was so funny. I forgot that.
It was very bad. On the way to Scotland, I stayed at a friend's house who's got all like film horse, ponies and everything, and it was nice of him to accommodate me. Shout out to Grant and Jess. And the ponies, of course.
And the ponies.
Beautiful little highlands. So I stayed there the night and I had to dry everything off because
it got soaked on the way up, didn't it?
On the motorway, on the way to Scotland, it was lashing it down. So I was sat there with the hairdryer, drying off my boots, drying off all my gear. And I didn't have the best waterproofs at the time either.
No, you didn't.
But a day later I met you, didn't I? Just after getting off the ferry. And I was shocked. Like, I knew she was coming, but I was so shocked because I'm not really used to people being reliable.
Yeah.
And
this was about this time last year, so I think we'd met up about 2:30. So we hadn't had a huge amount of time to get to Inverness. Yeah. So we just stopped halfway, not even halfway.
Was it just outside Edinburgh?
I think it was just outside Glasgow.
Just outside Glasgow.
Yeah. And we pitched up the tent. It was only Ellie's tent. We stayed in the same tent. And that was nice. That was actually a fine night, that one. There was cows beside us.
It was lovely. Really nice.
We were overlooking some water and we set off the next day and again didn't get to Inverness, but we did get close enough and we set up camp again, and that was the one night we had a campfire.
Yeah, that was a nice little site.
That was a nice little site.
That was gorgeous.
We didn't have any trouble. There was nobody around. Actually, there was a fly tippings nearby.
Yeah, so there was a fly tipping site, unfortunately, next to the site where we were camping. And look, there was a lot of wood there and pallets and broken up furniture. And we were like, wonderful, well, that's campfire fuel. And it also means that we take down this pile a little bit. And to be fair, we took quite a chunk off, didn't we?
We took a chunk.
So we tidied up the area a little bit, left it tidied and what we found it.
Yeah. And then off we went. I think, was it the third night we started cuddling?
Yeah, so it got cold very quickly.
Bear in mind, this is all platonic. We were still very much. I think we both were in the trying to figure each other out stage.
Yeah, I think the older generation call it courting.
Courting.
The courting stage.
So we started cuddling, and it was really nice. And one night, I didn't cuddle her because it was so cold. My arm was freezing outside the sleeping bag, and I haven't heard the end of it since that. But yeah, I didn't make that mistake again. I did cuddle her, and I don't know what it was, but every time I cuddled into you and got to the back of your neck, you had the most intoxicating smell.
I smell good.
Beautiful. I couldn't understand it. So yeah, and then we had a fantastic time in the MC.
Oh, it was amazing.
It rained. We had many breakdowns, mental and physical.
It didn't just rain. It was non-stop downpours.
We had a couple of dry patches, but overall not a whole lot.
Yeah, not a lot at all.
When we got back to Inverness, actually, it was fine. That day we spent in Inverness was great.
Yeah, I think Inverness was okay. Yeah, because that picture was fine, wasn't it? And it looked like the whole trip was just beautiful. And we didn't have any issues.
But we had plenty of issues. But it was nice, and it strengthened our bond. We didn't really know what we were. But
can I just point out how lesbian this was? So
like a week-long date. As our first date.
We didn't even know each other at this point. We'd met each other once. Briefly for a few hours.
And I think my bike broke down on the NC, and she had to push me back some of the way with the Grom.
Yeah, so the Honda Grom was pushing the Suzuki V-Strom 650.
Big bike. And we were just exhausted. We had ridden through the night, so we said we were going to book a hotel.
Yeah.
And we actually managed to get the bike fixed. It was something so small, but I just didn't have the tools on me. So I got that sorted. Mechanic charged me nothing, so I went around. That day was stunning because I remember it was really warm.
Yeah.
So we tore around to a garage, got him a pack of cans, I think 6 packs of cans of beer.
Yeah.
Just to be like, look, thanks for looking after me. We got to the hotel. I think we probably showered.
Yeah, we both had to shower separately, of course.
This time.
No saving water there.
No saving water. And then...
Screw them polar bears.
And we got down to the bed. We were sharing a bed because we just cuddled for the whole time. So we set up my iPad to watch Brave.
Yeah.
To watch Brave. I don't even think we made it 10 minutes into the movie.
No, I ended up falling asleep on your chest.
On my chest. Well, also, we had just bought matching pajamas in Primark.
But we did do.
That we did do. We just bought them, so we're in our matching PJs, and I wake up when the credits of the movie are over, and I'm like this. Ellie's head is here. She's conked out. I'm like, what?
We're watching Brave, weren't we? Because I was like, we're in Scotland.
Let's watch Brave.
I want to watch a Disney film. It's got to be Brave.
It's got to be Brave.
But I love that film so much. Didn't even watch it all.
No. And then the worst part is we've tried to watch it once since, and I fell asleep on her chest.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we ended up staying another night in the hotel to chill and recover. And then
dry off all the gear.
Oh,
the boots.
The boots.
So.
Oh no,
Our motorbike boots were soaking wet for an entire week with our feet in them most of the time.
Horrible.
So our boots stunk as it was. So
it's so bad for this.
In the hotel room, we decided to use the hairdryer to dry the boots off before we ended up heading back the next day. So
that was before we switched rooms, so because they couldn't give us the same room because we were going to stay an extra night. So they had one, but not the same room.
Yeah. So I was drying my boots off with the hairdryer, and the smell.
It started off in the room because I was going back and forth doing things. I think I was moving stuff to the other room, and the smell started off in the room, and then I kept every time I kept coming back, it had gotten out the door and further down the hallway. I felt so bad.
It was so bad. Like it literally smelled like. What,
I don't even know.
What? Who's that serial killer? It's Ted Bundy. It's not Ted Bundy. It's the other one.
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Jeffrey Dahmer. It smelled like Jeffrey Dahmer was in this hotel, and he was like, "Oh, I just got some meat that went bad."
Oh no.
So it smelled really bad. Like really, really bad.
Yeah, I don't feel great about that one.
No, I don't either. But we managed to dry our boots off anyway, so we didn't have to put our feet in these horrible boots.
Yeah. And then I think when we switched rooms, I think you ended up watching a football match on my iPad.
Yeah. So there was a Liverpool game on.
And I was just watching something on TV. And then I can't remember what we did after that, but we had a good night's sleep. We had a couple of drinks.
Yeah. Couple ciders.
Couple of ciders.
It was nice.
And then the next day we got up and we packed up. Ellie packed up her bike and off she went. And I mean, from the moment she disappeared, I was missing her. I don't know how you felt.
Gay.
You were missing me too. And
no, I was. Like as soon as I went, I was like, yeah, this is quite rough.
Yeah. And something I forgot to mention is, I think a day or two before before I had met her for the first time at Liverpool, she wrote me a beautiful poem on the Discord server. It was beautiful, saying that like my eyes could start wars or something.
I can't remember what the poem was.
But it was beautiful. She's written me quite a few poems, and she wrote me one after we got back from the NC, how that from the moment she left me, she was missing me.
So this is the really funny thing, because you always have a go at me for not writing a song about you.
No, I don't. I say that joking.
I know, but I feel like I only write music when I'm either sad, depressed, or like pissed off with someone. So the only way I'd write a song about you is if you're getting swifted. So...
But she's written me quite a lot of poems. I expect another one soon, by the way. Unfortunately, I can't write poetry, so I haven't written her one. But I do other things. I went to Scotland to see her.
Yeah.
And then after the NC, I was invited to your parents' wedding.
Yeah, so whilst we were out on the NC, my parents invited Lottie to the wedding. This was kind of out of nowhere, but I was like, oh yeah, I'm down for that. Like, I really like this girl, so.
Yeah.
I think I told you like a couple days after they sent it.
Yeah.
Just in case you was a weirdo. Which
yeah,
you are, but in the right way.
In the right way. So you asked me, and I was thinking about it because it wasn't very much notice, and then I got a cheap enough flight. It wasn't too expensive to rent a car for a few days, so I came over, and eventually found where you were, and when I got out of the car, she ran over and jumped on me, platonically. The entire time of the wedding, we were looking at each other, like, in a specific way. Everybody thought we were together.
Literally everyone. And it's not like Lottie was my only plus one. I also had Rhiannon.
And they were dancing together.
We were dancing together and everything. Lottie wouldn't dance with me because she hated me.
I'm a terrible dancer, so...
But me and Rhiannon were dancing all night. Lottie wouldn't dance with me. But they were still like, yeah, they're together.
When I left, like literally as soon as I left, I think your dad said, so what story is together?
Yeah, so my dad was like, so what's going on with you and Charlotte then? And I was like, we're just friends.
Just platonic. Bear in mind that after the wedding we slept in the same bed in the hotel.
And then it was it December?
Well, yeah, that was October for the wedding. Said we said that I was going to try and come over and see her. So I came over in November for, maybe 10 days?
You made it a monthly thing.
I made it a monthly
over to see me for a week. For a couple of days at first, wasn't it?
The wedding was a couple of days. I think November might have been about a week, or maybe just under a week. And then she was like, I need you to come over for longer. Yeah. So it became 2 weeks. And in December, we were ice skating, and I finally asked you to be my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And I think was it December we went to Christmas market?
Yeah, we went to Christmas market start of December.
Just before we'd gotten together, but we were kind of...
we knew that we were a thing.
Yeah, it was less platonic. We were kind of kissing a little bit, and we just kissed in a shop. Just a little peck.
Was that Grin?
That was Grin.
Grin in Liverpool.
And then...
Love that shop.
We look up, and who do we see?
My brother. We see my brother, who I told we were just friends.
And then I think we gave up.
I don't actually think he's seen us kiss.
No, he didn't see us kiss.
But we were like, that was close.
That was close. And eventually, because at this point we'd already started holding hands, and I think she got sick of that holding my hand. She held my hand, and then all you can hear from behind is finally, and she was like, "Oh no, it's still platonic." Yeah, they got a photo of that. That was our lock screen for a long time.
Yeah, it was. It was a cute picture, and we were just friends.
Just friends, just platonic,
just platonic friends.
Platonically, that phrase haunted me for ages in the Discord server.
It did.
But yeah, and then after, what was it, 3 or 4 more months, you asked me to move here.
Yeah, so we were talking for a while about you moving here and us getting our own place and stuff.
Which is not easy.
It's really difficult at the minute to get your own place in the UK, especially at like our age. especially when like you've just moved over from the Republic of Ireland.
Yeah, like while I can move here easily, it's not always very simple. Um, but yeah.
Irish banks, Irish citizenship, all that. So
Yeah, like as an Irish citizen, I'm legally allowed to be here. It was a pain in the ass to get a NI number, which I finally got. So yeah, that's kind of our story.
I can imagine it's really difficult for people who are moving over from other countries or migrating here from dangerous countries and stuff.
Yeah,
just to get set up. I'm sure they can somewhat get somewhere as a temporary address or whatever.
yeah. Usually there's ways of doing it.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah, that's
that was our story and how we met and our coming out stories as well.
yeah, and the NC 500 thrown in there as well.
And the NC 500 as well. I think at some point we will get the girls that we did the NC 500 on this year.
Yeah.
Because we did it for a second year this year as well. A lot more fun. It was 4 of us. It was
it was
like,
and it was a bit more planned out. It's still there was problems we had along the way, but it was definitely better planned out. And next year we have an even better plan.
Yeah, so next year we're looking on expanding and getting a few more people to come with us as well. We'll talk about that in the Discord. So if anyone's interested, you ride a motorbike,
yeah,
LGBT, get into the Discord. We will talk about the NC 500 for 2025.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, that sounds like the future.
I know.
It is the future. That sounds well in the distance, though, 2025.
Yeah, it's really not that far away. It's only a few months.
But we hope you enjoyed this podcast.
Yeah, it was a bit of a ramble, but I think that's kind of the point of our podcast.
Yeah, so make sure you subscribe, like the video, because it helps a lot with the channel.
Definitely.
If you can help with the channel in any way, shape or form, click on the link tree and there's ways you can donate and stuff through there.
And if you want to go over to my channel and give me a follow, I'm going to also start posting up different videos up there.
Get over to Lottie's channel. Link is in the bio again. She's starting to post more trans content and just more about you personally as well. Also gaming as well. You want to do, don't you?
I want to do gaming. I think I might do like a detailed timeline of my entire transition because I'm 8 years in. I've had surgery, so I feel like I have information that people could have. Yeah.
I think we might talk about that in a future podcast as well. That'd be really good. But we hope you enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
Make sure you like the video, subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.